Aloha nerds, and welcome back to TheSalawag's Why It's Great. I'm your host TheSalawag, and on this show I discuss the filmmaking techniques and storytelling choices that make my favorite films great. In other words, this is a show about filmmaking by a filmmaker. I'm examining how storytelling works, how choices were made behind the scenes to make the things that we enjoy. It can be kind of technical, it can be a little boring, but the point is to have objectivity with the things that I personally enjoy. So, welcome to TheSalawag's Why It's Great, and I'm talking about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So, I just wanted to do a little video about one of my favorite shows growing up, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I absolutely adore Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I mean, this was the combination of amazing special effects carried over from the Japanese footage that existed 30 years before. You know, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was about 90s teenagers imbued with the powers of the morphing grid, going Tyrannosaurus, Mastodon, Triceratops, Pterodactyl, Saber-toothed Tiger. You know, giving a little shout out, and they get these leotards and they go around fighting monsters. It's an awesome adventure. What I always loved about the show is that even though, and I laugh about this in my recent Instagram video I did, even though they have a lot of goofy lines and they have a lot of goofy villains and they fight, you know, sometimes they fight monsters as ridiculous as giant purses. And even though the Green Ranger happens to be the most susceptible to mind control, it may have been necessary a few times just to not have the Green Ranger around, because every 6 episodes he gets put under mind control by the villain. And oh, he's the bad guy again. So, but despite all that, or perhaps because of all that, I've always enjoyed that show because at the core of all of it was some really great archetypal characters. What I really enjoyed, my introduction to bros, you know, to best friends, really was before Harry Potter, Hermione, and Ron. Before them, my introduction to the bros was, you know, Austin St. John and Walter E. Jones playing, you know, Jason the Red Ranger and Zach the Black Ranger. That they were the first sort of bros. They were always sort of looking out for each other, trying to help each other get dates and that sort of thing. And then I always related a lot, you know, because I considered myself a nerd at a young age. I always related a lot to Billy, the Blue Ranger, played by David Yost. You know, he was too nervous to talk to girls. I had that incident in my own life at a young age where I was hanging out with you know, family friends and stuff, and there was a pretty girl, and I was a little kid, and I was too afraid to talk to her, and I told my friend, and then he was telling everyone how I was afraid to talk to her, and I was like, oh. You know, because I'm just... Look at me. But yeah, I was really nervous, and there would be episodes where they dealt with that, where the friends would join together and they would try to help Billy. Like, get your confidence up, dude. Just go talk to her. That's all you gotta do, is just go try. That's all you gotta do. And if it doesn't work, plenty of fish in the sea, but go try. So, you know, I related to that sort of thing. And then you had Trini and Kimberly, who they themselves were sort of their own two best buddies. And what was great about the whole show is that how everyone came together in terms of story construction. This is a half an hour TV show. What's really effective in telling a half an hour TV show is that they made everyone friends already. You know, the reboot just came out, and I wasn't crazy impressed by it. I thought it was okay, but also it's a reboot, and, you know, that's what you get. Yeah. But what I love about the show is, but by establishing them all as friends right off the bat, is that you save yourself the entire hour required to have scenes of people meeting each other and creating the history that they're supposed to have. And so it just enables you to see how they all look out for each other. Like in rewatching the show, I've been rewatching it ever since I started discovering all the Rangers on Instagram. In rewatching the show, what I really enjoyed was they really took some time in that first sort of 5-10 minutes, the opening 10 minutes of the show, to establish all of those relationships, to establish all the buddies and where they sort of lied amongst each other, that they are all introduced separately with their sort of skill or their thing. You see Kim is a very respected gymnast, and Trini's always hanging out with Billy and sort of learning with him all his nerdy stuff. And you see what I always respected was you had Austin St. John's Red Ranger. You know, even as a kid without powers, he was sort of leading the after school program, training other kids martial arts and stuff like that. And he had the respect of other people, and he had the command over other people. He already had this quality of a discipline that was just sort of innate. So you kind of just understood him becoming the leader before he becomes the leader. And something like that, I think that's very important to do. A very smart writing choice and casting choice to cast people who you could just understand it as soon as you saw it. Because if you, talking about the reboot, if you set the terms where the Red Ranger is mysterious and cool and has some crazy backstory that you have to find out about, and it has to take time for you to understand why he would become a Red Ranger, then you have to have a whole movie that goes through that to have him earn becoming the Red Ranger. And you may not really satisfy the needs of telling that story, but by sort of giving him that established sort of place, not above people, but as a leader of people, it just gives you just a natural mental sort of leap to understand, okay, he can be the leader of these Rangers. He's not showing distinctly that he would be the leader in a wartime situation, but that he is a leader is enough for us to get it. It's a really great story construction under that. And, you know, they have these goofy character things, and people talk about the racism of the colors, and it's like that is your own personal baggage. And if you're asking these actors these questions to rile them up and to say, yeah, I was offended that I was the Black Ranger and I'm black. No, that is not the vibe. It was more like, I'm so happy to have a job and I'm a superhero. Okay, I'm getting paid. Don't bring your nonsense baggage into a show like this. I respect Power Rangers in the way that people growing up in the 60s respect Adam West, because it's an earnest place to get good life lessons. And speaking of life lessons, that's what was great about so many episodes. They literally had episodes where the Rangers were trying to encourage other kids to pick up the trash, stop polluting, and yeah, it was a little silly and all that stuff, but you know, it is a kids show, and the function of a kids show is to teach kids morality. If you're just so focused on entertainment that you don't actually put the themes and importances, what am I saying? If you're so focused on entertainment that you lose the importance of giving your intended audience what they need, then you're not really making anything. You know, even Sam Raimi, who talks about wanting to be a great entertainer, in his early interviews, Sam Raimi, director of Spider-Man, something like that is going on in my background. even when he made Spider-Man the movie, he understood, like, this is a character whose whole function is talking about responsibility, and the story has to service that. So understanding your intended audience, that things like that made the show great. And on a personal level, and this is going to connect to the next episode I'm going to do, which is about the movie. While they didn't have a lot of personal episodes about the Rangers, and they didn't have a lot of, it wasn't Shakespeare, but to me it didn't have to be. But they talking about things about relatability, Billy being afraid of girls and having the bros, There was this one episode I found in season 1 that really got me. It was a 2-parter, and it was having Kimberly, the Pink Ranger, played by Amy Jo Johnson. They're having this sort of family day at Angel Grove High, Angel Grove, the city where the Power Rangers live. And Kimberly has a personal, private conversation with Trini, and she reveals that, hey, my parents have been divorced, and I'm kind of don't know how to feel about it, and I don't know what to do, and I don't even know if they're going to talk to each other or how they're going to handle all this, and I don't really want to be in this situation, because she's everyone else is excited to have their parents come to Parents' Day, but she's not. She's like, I don't want to be in that situation. And again, it's not the most Shakespeare. It's not it's not Casablanca, but it doesn't have to be. The fact is that they decided in this show about fighting monsters who are purses and soccer balls, that they decided to have a moment like that where they gave the character a little bit of history, and sort of having that background for this character who's always the bubblegum chewing. She is the most, she makes fun of everything the most out of everyone else. But having her have that backstory, I thought was really a great way to connect with kids who don't have all of this stuff that we take for granted. Like, I have parents who stuck together through thick and thin, and I do get annoyed with people thinking that everything's always been perfect. Like, you fucking don't know my life. I don't want to hear that crap. But that is exactly why I really related to that. I'm like, here's a character who is a superhero, who has something of a broken home, who has been through the thick and hasn't quite gotten to the thin that she wants. And it's not a weight joke. But having that, I mean, it's important to have those things in your show. I mean, the entertainment isn't just entertainment, like, oh, okay, it's just like Power Rangers because of the fighting and the Megazords. I mean, they're so stupid. They just don't understand. I know everything. Casablanca. Whatever. You enjoy what you enjoy, and you gotta like it for what it is. But stuff like that, having that relatability and having really strong actors, and the Instagram video I'm talking about, it's really great, because I was watching Power Rangers, and it's, this scene starts off with David Yost, he's looking at a piece of paper, and then he puts it down, and he says, I've determined that the monster is a combination of an elephant and an octopus. And I just laughed my ass off. I'm like, this is so good. This is so good. It's like, that is what these villains are. And what I loved about it, though, was that they were playing it so genuine, so earnest, is that he was like, sciencey crap. And behind him, over David Yost's shoulder, is Austin St. John just looking really serious, like, this shit is real, man. And Trini as well, just going, what are we gonna do? And each actor, and also Walter E. Jones on his other side, and Kimberly, Amy Jo Johnson on his other shoulder, everyone's just looking so concerned about what are we going to do. And just the earnestness of their performance and how good it is in just that one shot. Like, they really did in that one moment. As silly as the dialogue was, if it had been any other line, if this was a big budget movie, I would have believed their performances, because they were just so, like, fucking elephant octopus monster shit. like, that really sucks. We're in for some shit right now, you know. It's like, the earnestness of that is what makes it great. Is that even though it's so silly, all of these people already felt like friends, and in behind the scenes interviews, they talk about how, yeah, we actually sort of bonded naturally when they were casting everybody. A lot of people got switched out because they just didn't have a good chemistry on screen. And chemistry, you know, you can tell when you watch a romance movie when two actors do not have fucking chemistry of any kind. So definitely when it comes to friends who are supposed to be spending every single episode week by week together, you need to have that instant chemistry. And when they were casted, that was what they were being judged against. How is your chemistry with these other guys? And because, you know, Austin St. John and Walter E. Jones and everyone just sort of naturally gravitated toward each other and really played off of each other very well in the auditions, that is what got them casted, just because they had a natural chemistry with each other. And that sort of stuff is great. And when it comes to the action scenes, that, you know, that's what sold me as a kid. I'm not paying attention as a kid to the moral lessons and their deep personal stuff. As a kid, I'm not paying attention to that. I'm absorbing it, but I'm not paying attention to it. But when it comes down to the fight scenes, I mean, these guys had no money. I mean, there's a reason that, you know, halfway through the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 3-season run, half the cast was switched out because they were severely underpaid. But they were underpaid because this production just didn't really have any money to speak of. Maybe it was going somewhere, but the production itself didn't have any money. And one of the ways they got through those action scenes that everyone loves was that they would literally just have a day for the action scene, and whatever anyone came up with and could think of and do for a shot, they just did it. It's like, okay, let's do a shot here. What can you guys do? Oh, I'll do this, and you just fall over. And it's like, oh, okay, bang, bang, bang. And I'm not trying to like undersell. They had stunt coordinators and all that stuff, but they really had to come up with stuff quick and shoot it fast. Like setting up a shot takes forever, so they had to come up with stuff and shoot it fast and bang through it. And that's why it was really important in the auditioning process that each of the actors had the skill that was necessary. That each one had at least a gym background, and a select few of them actually had martial arts backgrounds. So whatever anyone could bring to the table was really crucial. You know, these actors did their own stunts. There's this badass shot of Walter E. Jones where he's running, and he literally like jumps up, flips over a tree, drops down and kicks 2 putties and hops out and goes, rah! Like, it's so fucking badass. This is another clip that I put on Instagram as well. Hashtag Salawag clip of the week. It's so crazy. And the fact that these people are just coming up with this stuff day by day, like, you have no idea just how intense a film shoot is, especially with what sounds like the indie budget level that they had. You know, that kind of, like, the storytelling construction of really relatable characters, even though they're archetypes, even though it's nerdy, like, give me a break, okay? Stop complaining about all that stuff. Whatever tells the story is what tells the story. So the great archetype setups that establish the character relationships on a storytelling level, on a writing level, and on a casting level, all that stuff's great. But in terms of pounding out the action, to have that much natural skills and talent that you bring to the table and everyone just hammers that stuff out, I mean, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work for an underpaid crew. So I just gotta say, like, hats off to everybody on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers show. I know I'm laughing at you guys on my latest Instagram video, and I'm maybe just a peon and all that. Maybe you've seen that before, but I laugh out of love. Like, I genuinely love the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers show. And my hope and dream is that I'm fucking directing, like, the next movie, or at least the next 5 seasons, where I can actually shape this show. I really feel like there's a place that the show can go to, where it can really update with the times. And if we could take, I'm calling that the Morphin method, you know, the way they just banged out footage of the fights. I'm like, I want to bring that back. I'm like, let's do that again. and them fighting all these guys and banging out that footage. I'm calling that the Morphin method. I mean, they didn't have a nickname for it in the interviews I saw, but I'm calling that the Morphin method. Like, can you do something cool? Yeah, I can do something cool. Okay, just go do it. We're gonna shoot it. We're gonna bang this shit out. Okay? Yeah. Ah, you know. Like, so fucking salute. Hats off to the cast and crew of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I think it's a great show. Not enough respect. I understand, like, it's not Casablanca. People don't want to respect it, but you gotta give love to the things you love. And I love Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and I love it sincerely. And, yeah, I'm never gonna stop watching it and appreciating it. So, I just want to talk a bit about why it was great. So, there it is. I gave you a little bit of this history of the characters, and a little bit of my personal reaction, and a little bit of actual story filmmaking talk. And yeah. Next up is the movie. After these Spider-Man episodes continue.